A Russian court has sentenced the jailed opposition leader Alexei Navalny to 9 years in maximum security prison.
What message do you leave behind to the Russian people?
Vladimir Putin's government represents a fascist authoritarianism known for coercion, lack of transparency, cronyism, and pervasive corruption. On the other hand, Alexei Navalny represents the millions of Russian citizens who seek freedom from these vices. The two have locked horns since 2008, leading many to wonder who would emerge victorious in years to come. As someone who never regrets or questions his unethical decisions, Putin will not give in to pressure. Will Navalny, the symbol of Russia's freedom, be able to overcome tyranny? On August 20th, 2020, Alexei Navalny, a Russian opposition leader, anti-corruption activist and lawyer, had just completed his campaign in Siberia for Russian opposition politicians. It was mere days to the elections, and Putin was uncomfortable with his influence in the region. Navalny left his hotel and headed to the airport back to Moscow. About half an hour into the flight, he fell ill. It became so serious that he screamed in pain and collapsed. The pilot was forced to divert the plane to Omsk, where he received emergency treatment. 2 days after he landed in Omsk, he was flown to the Berlin Charite Hospital in Germany. However, his release from the Russian hospital was not quickly approved nor easy, and it took a lot of work from a team of devoted lawyers. Navalny's team believed he was poisoned with a Novichok nerve agent. Several European countries supported this claim. On September 2nd, Germany released an official confirmation corroborating the allegations. France and Sweden followed suit with their reports confirming that Navalny was poisoned. Russia, of course, refuted the allegations, saying there was no proof that the poison was found in his body. The Putin-ordered doctors delayed Alexei's release to give themselves a way to cover their tracks. You see, Novichok nerve agent is a chemical weapon that is developed locally in Russia and is specifically designed to escape any detection. Within less than 48 hours, any trace of it will naturally disappear and then give the illusion the patient died only of natural causes. This allowed the Russian media to make outlandish claims such as that a low blood sugar metabolic disorder was to blame, Alexei took hallucinogenic drugs, or too many antidepressants. Some Russian news outlets even went as far to say Alexei drank moonshine last night. Alexei was drunk and using cocaine and participating in orgies. Your ears did not deceive you. This is truly how far Russia went to deflect the poisoning. Germany and France joined voices to call for an investigation into the matter. Why would anybody want to kill Alexei Navalny? The rift between Navalny and the Russian government began over a decade ago when Alexei was an active blogger. He used his platform to expose corruption and other illegal activities Putin's government was hiding. He penetrated the system by becoming a minor shareholder in state-owned companies. He got every detail he needed by asking questions and publishing them on his blog. This meant he gained popularity among anti-corruption crusaders and citizens who wanted to see reformations in their country. In 2011, his leadership grew and he successfully led a protest featuring nearly 50,000 people. It was the biggest demonstration in the capital city since the fall of the Soviet Union. Younger activists rallied around him and hailed him for his courage. Navalny rode on the relative fame to contest for the mayor of Moscow in 2013. The audacity caused many to believe that he was a force to reckon with in Russian politics. While he lost the mayoral race, he had gotten his message out. Putin watched his popularity gradually fade away. He has always been an authoritarian surrounded by people who bow to him. He didn't like that one man was gaining traction for exposing his shady deals. In 2014, Putin sent forces to invade Crimea because he wanted to claim the land for Russia. He realized that Kiev was on the verge of making an economic pact with the European Union and freeing itself from Russian influence. Millions of Russian citizens supported the invasion. Navalny and other opposition leaders were unpopular at the time because Russians were afraid to give an audience to any anti-Putin gospel. In the heat of this, Russian officials charged Navalny with embezzlement in 2013 and 2014. The opposition leader was far from discouraged. He widened his strategy to make his politics more appealing to Russians. Unfortunately, getting his message out there took a lot of work since the government has a firm grip on the media. Navalny has always been a step ahead of the Russian government. Seeing that the media had been hijacked, he took to his YouTube channel to propagate his anti-corruption campaign. The channel became instrumental to his renewed fame. In one of his videos, he showed clips of a mansion believed to be Putin's palace. He alleged that the estate was built from the proceeds of bribes. The Kremlin leader responded to the allegations by saying, "Nothing that is listed there as my property belongs to me or my close relatives, and never did." The video raked in millions of views and subscribers. The garnering of this now substantial fanbase motivated him to open offices across the country and form a network of opposition politicians to defeat Putin's United Russia party. Will Navalny be able to fight to the finish? There is no yes or no answer to this question. There have been a series of back and forths on this matter that even analysts do not see an end to yet. Navalny's woes intensified after he announced that he would run for president in 2016. The next year, he was attacked with a chemical dye called Brilliant Green outside his office. He reportedly suffered a chemical burn from the attack. Later that year, 13 election commissioners voted against his candidacy, citing previous embezzlement charges. As many citizens expected, the polls were rigged in Putin's favor. However, the repeat victory didn't deter Navalny from going after his greatest rival. In 2019, Alexei was arrested over charges of organizing an unauthorized protest. After recovering from the 2020 poisoning, he made plans to return to his home country in the face of near certainty the Kremlin would greet him with handcuffs. This is exactly what took place in January 2021. Weeks later, he was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for violating the terms of his earlier parole while in Germany. He was given a new 9-year sentence the following March in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, after prosecutors accused him of embezzling donations from his supporters. It was brave of Alexei to return to the land of his foes that had attempted to kill him. His colleagues confirmed that returning home was inevitable and that they were prepared for the outcome. Vladimir Putin is winning, but we don't see Navalny giving up. Unfortunately, opposition voices are limited by extreme and electoral authoritarianism. This notion is characterized by a regime that presents an illusion of multi-party democracy while stripping elections of efficacy. In this system, there's no real change in government. The government in power already has an iron fist grip on the electoral system and rigs it to stay in power. Sanitizing the political playing field, in this case, feels nearly impossible. Russia's political regime functions on this principle and excels at it. Putin has won all 4 elections since 2000 and is on the verge of running for a 5th tenure in 2024. In 2020, he used his supremacy to win a referendum that extended his legal tenure as president. Whether or not Navalny stands a chance in the political sphere is yet to be seen, particularly due to his currently lengthy prison sentence. Putinism as a political system also hinders the likes of Navalny. It was founded by Vladislav Surkov, a political operator that worked with the Russian government between 1999 and 2018. The ideology rejects the freedoms of choice offered by the West. It prohibits any social reforms threatening their current societal model. In this system, authority is vested in one person, not an institution. Putinism under Putin has grown to be more archaic, with no hope of modernization. Putin has never apologized after a protest goes violent. In 2021, when pro-Navalny supporters took to the streets to register their displeasure at Alexei's prolonged detention, the Russian autocrat was calm. The regime keenly awaited protesters to fill the streets before cracking down on them. Russian police have detained over 3,700 people since the pro-Navalny protest began. The over 100,000 that took to the street in solidarity with the opposition leader across 100 cities were dehumanized in various forms. In Moscow and St. Petersburg, police were filmed hitting protesters with a baton across the head. Journalists reporting the incidents were not left out. Nothing has changed for Putin and his allies since Navalny's illegal detention. The Kremlin is prepared for Navalny's supporters and it believes it has already conquered their leader. The future is bleak for the 46-year-old Alexei Navalny. Even in incarceration, he runs a network of dissidents devoted to ousting President Vladimir Putin. Critics say he will only be released when Putin is removed from power. The question on everybody's mind is, when? The US government has lent its voice to the millions of pro-democracy Russians calling for the release of Putin's #1 adversary. The White House threatened that Russia would face dire consequences if Navalny dies. Jake Sullivan, the White House National Security Advisor, told the press that severe sanctions await the Kremlin should anything go wrong. Russian authorities have previously claimed that Navalny was getting standard medical care, but reports from the prison say otherwise. It has been reported that he has been subjected to months in solitary confinement, as well as being locked up in a punishment cell where he is developing serious back pains due to only being able to sit or stand on an iron stool for 16 hours a day. This could mark the beginning of the end of Navalny's movement. It has been documented that many of Putin's opponents have disappeared or died violently under mysterious circumstances during his reign. Putin's public remarks state that he does not want Navalny dead. His actions are suggesting otherwise. In 2021, Vladimir Putin signed a law allowing himself to run for office twice more, suggesting the possibility that he could remain in power until 2036. Will Navalny hold on and escape prison in a timely enough manner to intensify efforts and send Putin packing? Let us know what you think in the comments section below.